I've been a lawyer, easy for me to say. I've been a lawyer for 43 years. I was a former prosecutor. I'm licensed in New York, New Jersey, Florida, and the District of Columbia, as well as a number of federal courts as well. Southern District, Eastern District, Second Circuit Court of Appeal, New Jersey, Philadelphia. You got that? Okay, I've been around. I'm not going to go through this whole thing, but what I'm saying is this is what I've been doing. 43 years. This is kind of what I've done. And one of the things which is the most difficult sometimes for a non-lawyer to do, and by the way, this isn't meant to be pedantic or to be like, you don't understand, but just explaining the rules of the road, is to explain the way the courtroom works versus what we think in real life. For example, when it comes to Charlie Kirk, there are a number of concomitant, simultaneous investigations. One is the theories behind who might have been involved. Remember, there's 4 parts of this whole story which are interesting. The first is the crime itself, the trial, the crime. The second is the identity of the assailant. The third is the motivation, which is less important. And the fourth is everything that has to do with Erica, who was the funniest part of this whole thing, because she is just, I don't have to tell you. So when it comes to the case, the case itself involving Tyler Robinson, a couple of things that we have to establish ahead of time. First, we don't know really what's in the evidence, what's in the actual discovery material, what has been turned over, what will be turned over by the prosecutor. I want to see right off the bat, if I ran it any way I can, I've got my experts. My experts are the ones who help me. And the first thing I'm going to do is let's talk the forensics. Let's talk medical examiner. Let's find out autopsy, pictures, everything. Show me what you've got, up to and including blood. Was he under the influence of anything? Not that Charlie could have been in any way a drug addict, but somebody might have slipped him something. I want to know everything. Relative health, everything you can tell me about Charlie, the person, baseline. Okay? Next, what was and this is the most important, the actual, not cause of death, but the source of death. One time there was a murder case I did where the medical examiner pinpointed it to a part of a lobe of the lung that was pierced by a bullet, and that's where the actual death started. Just because you're shot, something has to cause the death, some hemorrhaging, some internal damage, trauma. Sometimes it's pretty evident, brain and that sort of thing. So I want to know specifically, what was it? What was it? Just because you're shot in the throat doesn't mean it's going to kill you. What was it? Was it internal hemorrhaging? What was the official cause of that? Now, don't ever be confused with the forms of death. Think of this little acronym, NASH, N-A-S-H, natural, accidental, suicide, homicide. And actually, unspecified, that's a NASHU. But for the most part, this is a homicide. And a homicide is defined as a death caused by someone else. It wasn't natural. It wasn't accidental. It certainly was not self-harm. It was homicide. Okay. So that's critical. What was it? Was it jugular, carotid, internal? What was it? What is and give it to me in medical pathology talk. And I turn it over to my expert, the doctor, or whatever, and I say, what do you think? Yep, that makes sense. Number 2, what was recovered? Let me see this. Don't tell me fragment. Don't tell me I want my guy or gal to look at it. What does it show? Show me. And I mean the pathology reports, if they're videotaped, sometimes they are, but for the most part, they're very, very thorough. What is it? If he shows shards, what does this shard look like? Is it a projectile that's blunt? Or is it, as some people have suggested, I'm not suggesting this, somebody else might have, an exploding microphone, an exploding lavalier mic. I'm just saying, I'm not suggesting. That shard, if it were to, to be detonated entering this way, where this would be an exit or an entrance wound as well, would be different. Let me see the composites. Did you test it? What is it? Is it plastic? Is it hardened plastic? Is it resinous? Is it metal? Is it lead? You see what I'm saying? Don't tell me fragment. I want the fragment tested. And I'm sure they've kept the fragment. I'm sure they are there. I want them independently checked. What is this fragment? What is this thing you found in his throat or this area, this cervical area? What was it? Don't tell me a shard from, we don't know, because what they're doing is they're saying we're unable to tell whether the bullet, the round, did it become atomized? Did it become shattered? I don't know what that means. You're presuming that's what it is. Unless my guy, I've got a metallurgist or somebody says, wait a minute, this material isn't even bullet related. You don't assume anything. You have experts who go after everything. What if it's not even metallic? Think about this. Now, before we get to I don't want to jump ahead. So that's the first thing. Let me look at it. Show me the wound. Show me the wound as is, and then show it to me cleaned. Sometimes you will see, pardon the American flag, there's no symbolism here, but sometimes they will do a piece of doweling, like a stick or something, and they will actually put it in, depending upon, especially in stab wounds, they will enter the entrance wound and find out where the path was, so that you see like sticks, like porcupine sticks, depending upon the number of shots or stabbings. You will see trajectories. If you see sticks, all going this way, that's where they came from. But if they're going up and down, it's like, wow, this was a crossfire. Very, very critical. Now, the other type of information is not important. Allegor mortis, rigor mortis, the livor mortis, lividity. That doesn't apply. That's later on. I want to see what's happening. Okay, first. So we have Charlie. Sorry to say this. We have the evidence. This is where it's from. And if you can kind of reconstruct, is there anything to this? If they say, no, we don't know what it is, it's either this is consistent with a bullet or a round, fine. If it's not, if it was a hardened plastic, if it was something, and also, is there anything around either the skin stippling to show an explosive? Remember, the explosive from a rifle is in the background, is far away. What you get is the trajectory of just a round. But what if there was, for example, powder deposition? How would that happen? What would be the cause of that? Why would we see that? Unless there was something at, near, or on his skin that had a charge in it, which goes back to this theory, of which I'm not suggesting, but it's interesting, maybe a microphone or something that he had that could have been detonated. It's very clever if you think about it. Also very risky. Very risky. You always try to give as much credit to the assailant, to the sniper, to the bad guy as possible. But I'm not giving too much, because if they really wanted to remove Charlie from the face of the earth, don't do it in front of people. Don't do it in front of people. Just have something happen on the street away. He wasn't under 24/7 watch. Why would you do this? Why would you risk somebody else being hurt? Why would you risk some innocent person? Why? And why would you miss, or rather risk missing him, thus turning him into a martyr and giving him the Butler PA effect, of which our president, thank God, was he eliminated, or rather dodged certain death. So going back to the Epstein case, why would they do this there in federal custody in MCC? Why? I don't understand it. So I gave up on that years ago. I don't know. Because I always second guess these people. I always say, well, there must be a reason. Because certainly they can't be that stupid. Oh, yeah. Or if they wanted to, in the case, for example, of Epstein, they could have disappeared him. You would have never heard of him. You would have never known who he was. Let's say he was coming into Teterboro, New Jersey airport, private airport. He could have been snatched off the street in Paris, and you would have read or heard some little squib. Famous, notorious U.S. Financier Jeffrey Epstein is disappeared. Okay. You wouldn't know anything. So why bring him here and then him, which they did? That was not self-harm. That was the big homicide. All right. But why? I don't know. Okay, next. Now the story begins. Now this is where I get the investigator in. Remember, I've got my ME, my medical examiner, my forensics guy over here. Now I get into, give me a bunch of cops and give me the narrative. How did this guy use this particular firearm, this Mauser 98 or whatever the particular model was, of a 30-06? Take me through it. There was discussion. Jimmy Dore mentioned this, as others as well. They talked about a screwdriver. Sometimes in this, by the way, I put together a chair, and I got this thing. This is a hell of a weapon. My God. Anyway, sometimes you have these kind of Allen wrench types of devices used to break down a rifle. If this rifle, as seen, was broken down ostensibly by Tyler, where he had to stop and break this down, put the component parts, fold, the scope, the stock, down his pants. My investigator would take me through it. How would he then get to the roof? How does he get to the roof? Does he put it back together again? Under a series of narratives, Mr. Investigator, how many times do you think he, if at all, maybe he didn't, but I can't see him having this rifle with a scope down his pants. And if you saw him moving and running, he did not look like one would look if you had some barrel down your pants. I know. Forget the jokes, please. Why is that important? A jury hears that and they say, this is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my life. Nobody would do this. Not only that, he's nervous. He's scared. This guy's not some professional sniper. He's not some professional hitman. What is this, Day of the Jackal? He's taking this apart. And then later on, I get an expert to testify. I get somebody, for example, in trial, on trial, maybe a retired Marine, somebody who's a gunny, somebody who's a gunnery sergeant at Quantico, Paris Island, somebody who's retired, got that haircut. And I set up these nice little, felt kind of a pads. He goes, sir, would you do me a favor and make sure the jury sees we have made this rifle safe. The firing pin is out. It cannot be fired. Do me a favor, sir. You're an expert. Break this down for me, will you? And just have everything say go. And just time it. This is a professional. And just see, my God, to show that jury, this is a lot of... Oh, and by the way, sir, Gunny, the scope, the sniper scope, that one, how difficult would that be to knock out of alignment by taking this apart? Don't you have to balance this? Tell me. Okay, so now the jury sees this preposterous story about how this guy, who might know how to fire Grandpappy shooting iron, he's going to be doing this if, again, they had to have broken it down, and I think Jimmy's 100% correct, because you can't walk around with this. All right. Then later on, we explain to the jury what it's like to fire from this. Let's try to recreate it, okay? first, I would have already had him attempt to do this. How far were you? Could you do this? Oh, I could do this. Yeah. But without a spotter, without any kind of, do you have to know what the temperature? I don't know. See, a lot of guys, listen, how do I say this in a nice way? A lot of folks on this here YouTube thing love to pretend like they know everything. Everybody's an expert. Everybody's a lawyer, a constitutional expert, a doctor. Even during OJ, everybody was a blood splatter expert. In fact, the main guy, Henry Lee, died recently. Anyway, so I want them to say, do you know what it takes to do this? To get your breathing right, to do this, to shoot, to recover, to by yourself. And would you please explain to me, sir, Mr. Expert, if I were to veer this much here, I aim the wrong way, how does that translate into actual, how does that translate into realized difference? For example, if I'm shooting and I'm aiming at this, if I'm off by a millimeter, 100 yards, 200 yards, it's 10 feet. So for him to shoot from this area and nail it right here with all these people around, all of these, there's a wonderful shot, not a wonderful shot, but Candace has it. It's from the back, and you see the looks on people's faces as they see this, as they see Charlie. So already I'm building this up. The jury's thinking, wait a minute, this is the most ridiculous. This guy. Then I'm saying, but remember, ladies and gentlemen, closing argument, I do this. You see this? This is a lint brush. Do you know what it has to do with the murder of Charlie Kirk? Nothing. Why? Because there's no evidence whatsoever that it fired anything. It was involved. Nothing. This is the rifle. Do you know what evidence it has of being involved in this? None. It might have been there. It might have been on a roof. It might have been wrapped in a towel. It might have had his DNA on it. It's his freaking gun. Duh. And 6 other DNAs. But aside from that, it has nothing to do with the murder. Nothing. I don't know if the thing was even fired recently. I don't know if they did any GSR tests on Tyler, gunshot residue. They have this thing called paraffin tests and nitrazine and all this kind of jazz. But did you check? Normally you want to see here because it's where you keep your chin near it. Here, clothing. I don't know. Maybe they do. Maybe there's a bevy. Maybe there's a trove of evidence we don't know anything about. I don't know. I don't think so. But that's it. Remember, lint brush. Remember the lint brush. And by the way, just like a joke, you always recall it. Ladies and gentlemen, what's the evidence? Nothing. There were some people who came on Fox News and go, we're talking to retired ATF. He goes, well, just because there's no evidence, just because you can't link the rifle to the murder doesn't mean it had anything to do with it. Excuse me, what? Yeah, just because what? Just because you couldn't connect it to the event doesn't mean it had nothing to do with it. Well, what does it mean? What are you talking about? There's no connection. Then we have the remember now, these are all my experts. I'm going to have, oh my God, and then I'm going to have experts from how negligent they were. I'm going to have somebody come and say, Mr. So-and-so, state your name for the record. Fitzwater from the ATF or whatever. What do you do? I am in charge of training and dealing with dogs, canines, who retrieve and find weapons or find murder weapons. How rare would it be for these dogs to completely miss a rifle that had been fired Right there. Extremely rare. Impossible. Maybe, and correct me if I'm wrong, sir or madam, if it did miss it, would it because maybe they're just incompetent, which we don't think so, or maybe the rifle was never fired or was not fired soon enough for the dog to pick up something? Or it might have been fired, a year ago. Now, what am I trying to do? What am I trying to do? Am I trying to disprove anything? No. Am I trying to establish Tyler's innocence? No. Am I going to get to perhaps to bring up maybe the information on the tarmac hug, on Fort Huachuca, on the Egyptian plains? No. I'm not establishing anything. What am I doing? I'm providing reasonable doubt. I'm saying, you, Mr. Prosecutor, it's all up to you. It's up to you, New York, New York. And so far, you showed me a big hunk of iron. You showed me, a lint brush. And you expect me to extrapolate that must have been, you're just going to hold it up. You're going to hold it up with the scope, and people are going to say, oh my God, that's nothing. That's a lint brush. It's nothing. It has nothing to do with it. And don't be surprised, by the way, if the defense does not file either a motion in limine or a motion to exclude or some kind of motion to suppress any introduction of that gun whatsoever. Because I don't want that jury, if I'm the defense, I don't want that jury looking at this gun and saying, wow, that's a big gun, isn't it? Sure would. Boy, that would do a lot of damage. And by the way, we can also get into evidence later on from forensics who say that, Miss Dr. So-and-so, what do you do? I'm I'm the director of trauma care at Johns Hopkins. Oh, thank you very much. What would happen, sir, if a 30-06 round that is spiraling, that picks up speed from this particular area were to hit right about here? In your experience, and within a reasonable degree of medical certainty, that's the proviso, what would be, sir, the result? And this person would say, well, like Dirty Harry would say, it would blow your head clean off. I don't know why I'm doing that accent, but you see what I'm saying? It would not make a little hole like this, a little hole. Have you ever heard of a vertebrae or clavicle or cervical bone mass being so strong because of good, clean living and eating and diet that it could withstand? No. There's a word for that. Bullshit. That's what that is. Now, I'm going to leave you with this one thing. Listen carefully. This is the most important thing in the world. What if you walked in, hypothetically, assume arguendo for the sake of argument, as opposed to innuendo, which is an Italian suppository, but assume you walked in to wherever this place, the police department was, and you said, I did it. Here you go. Take me. I did it. I'm responsible for the dispatch and the elimination of Mr. Charlie Kirk. I did it. I did it. Where's the gun? You don't need a gun. What do you mean? Well, you don't have a gun? You don't have a gun with him. You don't have a gun with Tyler. You've got a lint brush. You've got a gun that maybe he might have held. His granddaddy may have a shooting iron. But it has nothing to do with this. So I have a lint brush. It has nothing to do with it either. So I don't need a gun. You're arresting him, right? Hell, you're not letting him go. You're not letting him go because you can't connect the gun, are you? No. Well, what do you need a gun for? Take me away. I did it. I was there. And by the way, if you go and you look at the crowds, in fact, over here, I've got some snapshots. I took some pictures of me there at or near the area. I was there. Let's say I really was there. The police are going to say, we're not going to arrest you. Why? I'm confessing. It's not you. Why isn't it me? Why aren't you arresting me? Because it's him. Because we know it's him. Now go away. What was that? Go away. We didn't think there'd be a problem with the bullet. We thought for sure, but go away. He's our guy. But you don't have any evidence. It doesn't matter. And by the way, you're going to try to claim that he confessed to his parents, right? Or his father, or He didn't do that. He didn't do that. Wait till the parents come forward and say things like, no. What he did was he freaked out because he told us he was looking for him. And he says, what do I do? He said, well, I was there that day, and I'm a little crazy, you know. Did he ever confess to shooting him? No. Did he ever confess? No. He was there. And the reason why they called the cops was they said, you better turn yourself in, Tyler, because if they show up one night, they'll break that door down and take you. And you might not be so lucky. They'll swear you went for something. Because if they eliminate you, and remember this is what scares me. If they eliminate you, we don't have to worry about this. Okay? Case solved. So let's assume, arguendo, there's no gun, there's no confession. What is it? It's a lint brush. Nothing. So, going back to my analogy, what if I were to say, then arrest me? You don't have a confession from me, and you don't have a gun from me either. You just have, and plus, his confession's kind of shitty. Mine's great. I'm telling you, where's the camera? Mine's better. I'm a better witness. I'm saying I did it. They'll say, go away. Why? We don't want you. I haven't even gotten to the text messages, which are so... And by the way, without chain of custody, without somebody coming from wherever whatever this, whether WhatsApp or whatever it is, iPhones, or that doesn't mean anything. These texts don't mean anything. Nothing. We'll get to that anymore. There's so much to this. This case is the worst. Unless they've got so much stuff that they're just not letting anybody know about. But I don't think so. Can you imagine what Cole Vett and these TPUSA people and Eric are going to do? Can you imagine if they say not guilty, so say we all, and he walks? I mean, he walks? After everything they said? Well, after all, Erica, you forgave him. Well, justice spoke. Yeah, but I didn't. You act like you expected this. You acted like you thought for sure the fix was in. Well, there is no fix and nothing's in. The only thing in is his acquittal. If it came to that. Wow. Think about what I've said. Think about it. I'm going to do more of these for you. Because I see it, I swear to God, as clear as day. Oh, this is going to be good. And I'm going to be there for you. I'm going to be there for you. Grandpa's going to be there for you. And I'm going to help you. Now, I've got some questions for you to answer. Please, give me your questions. Follow me here. Subscribe to my channel. We do this all the time. I'm going to throw out hypotheticals. You get a law school class. I'll be using my years as a prosecutor, as a lawyer, and I'll throw things at you. Because remember, I'm theoretically, I'm Tyler's lawyer. I don't have to prove anything. I'm just saying, not good, not good, not good. And I'm going to end up, or the prosecutor's basically going to hand up with a bag of you-know-what. And if that's true, I don't care who you are, in our country, that's the way it goes. And this thing right now, by the way, this is it. This is the Constitution. This is what it's all about. It's not about likes or dislikes. No. It's about the Constitution. It's about due process. It's about the Sixth Amendment. It's about the right to a speedy to public trial and the right to counsel and everything else. We're going to talk more about that. Thank you. Please subscribe to the channel. Please like this video. Do me a solid. Just like this. They love that. And also hit that little bell so you're notified of live streams and new videos. Let me tell you something. If you think this case is open and shut, you might be a lint brush.